So here we go with the truck comparison. So I have some popular brands to show. Actually, Grind King, I have to admit, is the least selling of these at this point in time. I'm hoping that'll change, but I've got to be honest. The main contenders in the truck, the main top 6 trucks that I think, if I'm correct, I think you've got Indy #1. Maybe Venture or Thunder #2. I have 2 Thunders because one is the original Thunder, kind of the low, and then they just came out with this T2, which I think is kind of innovative in some ways, a little different. And then also we have Venture, of course, and Ace, big contender these days, and Slappy. There's also Lurpiv, and there's Crux, and there's Tenzer, which I didn't bring in here. Maybe we'll do that at some other point. I was limited to this at this moment, but there may be some follow-ups to this whole episode. But these I think are the main top selling trucks, if I'm correct. If anyone doesn't agree, let me know. But I think it's Indy, Venture, Thunder. Thunder and Venture are kind of maybe neck and neck, and then Slappy and Ace. Maybe Ace is then Slappy, and then Grind King's kind of way behind at this point, because we haven't really, some people don't even know we're back. But I want to be very unbiased in this thing to just really go over the facts. I'm not here to brag about Grind King and say it's the best. That's not what this is about. It's really to just show you what the difference is. So the main difference to me, if I was going to say, to be fair in this comparison, is that there is what is the best truck? Okay, which one is the best truck? Which one turns the best? A lot of people are waiting for that. Oh, what's the best truck? And you're going to be surprised to hear, I'm not going to say it's Grind King. I think the best truck, if you want to know what's the best truck for sales and what's going to sell the best, I think it's still going to be Indy. Okay, I loved Indy. I was an Indy rider. But that doesn't mean they're the best. Really, the best truck here is all of them. They're all very good. Honestly, they're all very good. They may be the best. Anyone could be the best, because you have some skaters that weigh 120. You have some skaters that weigh 180. You have some skaters like vert, some like street, some like loose trucks, some like stiff trucks. It's like, what car is the best? What guitar is the best? What anything's the best? What ice cream is the best? It doesn't matter. It's a personal opinion. So I'm not here to tell you Grind King is the best, because it's not for everybody. Maybe some of you will think Grind King is the best, but not everybody. And that's good, because it's sort of like keeps this industry. It would be horrible if there was just one truck. You know, this is an industry where competition is good, I think. And there's good things about all these. Right off the bat, I can tell you one of the main things that maybe separates Grind King from these, in a sense, not saying better again, is that these are what I would term traditional trucks. They haven't changed that much over the years. I'm going to say this. They did copy the inverted kingpin, which was, I invented that in 1988. It took them about 30 years. And I already see 3 trucks in this lineup. Crux, I think, also has the inverted kingpin, and they're starting to see the advantage of that. So I take that now as a compliment. I don't hate on any of these trucks for copying. I actually welcome to the inverted kingpin club. And I think Thunder, I'm not sure if they have it yet. Adventure, I'm not sure. Maybe they will. If they want to take that idea, go with it. I think it makes sense. So. But there's some people that still like the old-fashioned one. Again, they're traditional trucks. Here's why they're better than this. Let's say you have an old deck like this one, my old deck. I think lockers wouldn't look right on this deck, on this old school deck. If you have a classic deck from the past, one of those, like, people still even make them, you probably would be better off with an Indy on there, because it fits the look. If you have an old classic car, you want the rims of that era. You don't want to put brand new rims on it. It looks cheesy in a sense. So that there is a reason to have traditional trucks, and there always will be these traditional trucks, and there always should be traditional trucks, because traditional is good. Classic never dies, okay? But there's another camp, which is the progression. You know, what if all classic cars never progressed, and that's all we ever had was a 69 Camaro or a 1970 Dodge Challenger? I love those cars, but you know what? I don't think I'd buy one, personally. I love classic, but I want to drive, for me, because I like technology stuff, I wouldn't mind driving the newest whatever that has all kinds of features and technology in there, because that's sort of my thing that I like. And I know some of you guys may like that thought of trucks can also progress and the technology should progress. So I'm hoping to capture that part of the market. So rather than say, get Grind King and it's better, I'm just saying I'm going in a different direction than these trucks. I'm going in a new direction, which is for this next generation of skaters, not so much for the vintage or traditional, I should say, trucks. They both are good. All these trucks. Now here's something I'll say. If I ride any of these trucks, maybe I'll feel a little different here and there. It's what I'm used to. I'm going to prefer Grind King because I'm used to Grind King. I've developed it. Of course, I have a bias towards that. But the real truth is that if you are really good, if you're someone like Nyjah or someone that's that good, you could ride one of my old skateboards and just totally blow me away. Most skaters would be like, "Oh my God, this guy's like Jimi Hendrix of skateboarding." It doesn't matter. They're so good that you can ride any of these trucks and they'd still be ripping. There's no doubt. I mean, it's not going to make that much difference. Now, if you suck at skateboarding and you think just because Nyjah rides one of these and you ride one of those, you're going to ride like him, that ain't going to happen either. You're still going to suck if you suck. I mean, you got to earn your skate ability. That comes with time. And it comes to trying different ones. I suggest trying anyone who hasn't ridden the Locker, I suggest you try it. It is going to give you a different experience. And you may like it, you may hate it. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Personally, I am different from most truck companies because I like to hear the feedback. And that feedback, everyone that criticizes or says something about these, that's going into my brain to make adjustments. I've already made, this is the Locker 2 already. It hasn't been even, it's been a little over a year, but it was less than a year before I already changed it. And I'm already working on I'm always working on a new truck, just so you know. As soon as I come out with a new truck, I'm working on the next model. That's just my way of doing it. It doesn't mean it's better again. It's just, again, that's my purpose in skateboarding, is to bring the evolution to the next generation. So that starts off my feelings, my opinions, and now we're going to get into the actual technical specs of these trucks so you can see the differences from a technical standpoint. Here's the first part of our comparison is weight. A lot of skaters want to know how much these trucks weigh. Weight, again, this is something I want to preface this in saying that just because something's lighter doesn't mean it's better. When I first came out with the Grind King trucks, I came out with the lightest truck out there. And I'll never forget when I was letting some skaters try it. It was so light, some of the people were telling me it was too light. And I was going like, well, isn't that going to be better? And they're like, no, it's too light. And I was just like, oh man, okay. Well, again, nowadays, everybody's like, well, how much does it weigh? And they want to know if it's lighter. And so lighter, just like the inverted kingpin became popular, light trucks became popular. So we're gonna weigh these trucks so you can see of these trucks here, who's lighter and heavier. Now, I will say, even though I've always been a fan of light trucks, there is sometimes you may want a heavier truck. For example, if I was gonna maybe bomb a hill, just totally bomb a hill at high speed, you may want some weight, okay? Because the extra weight may add some stability. So that's one case where maybe heavier trucks are better. So again, what do you do? If you're doing flip tricks and all kinds of technical stuff, then you may want lighter trucks, okay? So here we go. We're going to see which truck here, what the trucks are, how much they weigh. We'll start with Indy. Indy is, I'm doing this in ounces, okay? So this is, and by the way, these are all 8.5. I made sure to have them all the same size so that it's a fair comparison. So this is an Indy inverted kingpin. It weighs 14.3 ounces. You should maybe write that down so we can put them on the screen. What do you think?
I'm going to put them on the screen.
Okay.
I've been looking at the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 14.3. You can see that. Next up will be, let's put the Venture. The Venture. By the way, I'll talk about this later. Venture is 13.6. So Venture is quite a bit lighter than the Indy. Now let's try the Thunder. There's two Thunders. Again, I'm going to weigh them both. This is the Thunder regular one, the lower Thunder. That one weighs 13.1. I think that's the lightest so far, right? Okay. Then we've got the Thunder. This is their new one called the T2, which is a higher truck. And this one weighs 13.0. So that's even lighter than the old. It looks almost like heavier, but it's actually lighter than the original one. Now let's go with the Ace. Ace 55, which is an equivalent to an 8.5. And to be fair, I got to take this off because that doesn't count. And also I'm going to take off their little threader, to be fair. Everyone's got to have the comparing apples to apples here. We got to make sure that there's no extra weight added. The Ace weighs 13.0. It's tied with the Thunder. Okay, it's interesting. Now comes the Slappy truck, which is this is the Slappy that has the very low kingpin they just came out with. It's their latest, greatest 8.5. Very low kingpin, perhaps one of the lowest kingpins. Ooh, new winner, 12.4. Okay, so that's the lightest truck so far. And last but not least, we have the Locker 8.5. And that weighs 11.6. So the Locker is lighter than all these trucks, okay? Again, that may be good for some people, maybe not.